Collectible giveaway every week on this YouTube channel, Big Collectibles. So I wanted to make a video about what's going on with these big sold prices or the values of high-end cards, the most valuable cards. And I wanted to go ahead and analyze this a little bit, and I want to see if in history has anything like this happened. Often history repeats itself. So I wanted to see, is this a good investment that they did? You see, I collect, and having value tied to my cards is a bonus, but I collect because I have an emotional tie to the card. So, but now I recently got into flipping, so I wanted to learn a little bit about the history as a society. We're in the past has making an investment like this been the right move, or what's the best strategy? So first off, let's go ahead and take a look at the top cards right here, and you can see right here. I'm gonna look deeper into or closer at the top three, but this is a list of the top 10. You can see right there you have Honus Wagner, Mickey Mantle, 1 and 2. So Luka, Patrick Mahomes, Mike Trout, Honus Wagner. So I mean, obviously Wayne Gretzky, Honus Wagner again, and then Honus Wagner again, different grades. So let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit more of these cards, a little deeper, right? And we're gonna first look at this and then look at history a little history lesson. So Honus Wagner right there, you can see it's graded. I hope this article, I've looked at so many different articles, but it's a SGC3. There it is, SGC3. SGC grading the biggest card. Hey, by the way, if there was a YouTube channel called Big Card, I probably would watch it religiously. But going with that, look, this is SGC grade 3. SGC doing big things. They're consistent in their grade. They're known to grade well, especially when it comes to vintage. And obviously, the card, according to records, of the most that has sold for the most money, 6.6 million. You're looking at it right there. We're looking at a $6.6 million. Now, these people who have this money, they're not, buying this thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to lose my money. Absolutely not. Let's go ahead and look at this. You have to think that there's a reason why they're investing in this card, right? This right here, this is the Mickey Mantle 1952 rookie card selling for 5.2 million. And the buyer's, where's his name? I watched a video with him, an interview, and I think I know his last name was Gouch and his first name was Rob, I think. I'm sure you could search it on the YouTube machine and come up with it. But this card right here, the guy that owned it, he started out back in the days, as like an actor, and then he took his money and invested it and started companies. And it's, if you're a geek for stuff like that, to see like where he got his money and how he was able to get ahead and invest in this card, then by all means take a look at it. So he bought this card, and he talks about how this is the card, and he has an emotional tie with it because he's like, since he was a kid, he's seen this card, right? He's familiar with this card, and it was kind of like, hey, this is his number one card. Similar to me, this is my number one card. Honus Wagner is worth more, as you can see, but I would prefer a Mickey Mantle rookie because I have more of an emotional tie. I would be able to speak upon the fact of my dad talking to me about it. I could sit back, maybe sip some cognac, and check out the card, have the card right there, and we can talk about Mickey Mantle, and my dad can relive the glory days, and I can look back at all the stories he's told me about Mickey Mantle's, and him going to Mickey Mantle's restaurant and seeing him and all this good stuff. Now, third place, LeBron James. Oh wait, that's not the card. That is not the card that I was looking for. There it is. That's the card. It actually, this you see, this is dated. This is dated right there. Let me get the most up to date. All right, so this card right here, the LeBron James, sold for, you can see there, for, sorry about that, $5.2 million. And so this card sold for that amount, sitting in third place. And what's remarkable is this is a modern card. This is not Mickey Mantle, Honus Wagner. This is he's still playing. He's still playing. So very interesting. And then fourth place was Luka, and which is very interesting because he's very new in the game. If he were to not play ever again, what would happen to that value of that card? If he decides to just, you know what, I'm gonna just chill down in Miami and that's it. Let's take a look at the card here. So it speaks a lot about where these people are thinking, right? What are they thinking? Where is their mind at? It's at, obviously, you're talking big money, $5-6 million for these cards. So I was like, you know what? 100 years from now, what is that card going to be worth? What's the ROI? Is there an ROI? I said and nobody knows, and I don't care who you are, nobody knows. But one thing I do know for sure is we can go back in time 100 years and see what are the facts, what happened 100 years ago. So I did a little bit of research. So let's go back in time. So real quick, let's look at here.
An unparalleled interest in sports also skyrocketed several athletes into
1920s.
stardom during the 1920s. Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees established himself.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there. So just so I can give you a little bit of information here, because this cat talks real slow. Back in the days, 1920s, people started to have cars in every house. Before that, it wasn't a thing where every house had a car. Then radio was in every house, and this gave birth to this platform, and people were starting to give their attention to this platform. And because of that, it gave birth to influencers, famous influencers, because it was only famous people on the radio, right? So they wanted to be like these people. So they started investing, trying to make things happen. People left farming after generations of doing that because they wanted to be more mainstream, because they were looking at people or listening to people and famous people on the radio. Then TV started to really pick up and be a thing. So it's just the influencer really took off. You can see here Babe Ruth, he's marketing a tobacco company, and so the society is called the Roaring Twenties for a reason. A lot of change. Women's dresses started to shorten. Their hair started to change. Jazz started to become a real thing, and jazz influenced society in their style and as in society as a whole. And again, you're always going to have people that are still holding on to the past and still wanting to keep things the same, but there are as a society it was starting to change. The Roaring 20s. So all right, so now we get a feel for what's going on, right? People wanting to make money, people are leaving farming, mobsters are making a lot of money with bootlegging, and so that is what's going on. So I said, okay, all right, I've got an idea of what's going on. I get a feel for it. Obviously this is before my time, but let's see, what were they putting their money in? So I looked that up. All right, so let's see what they were putting their money in. From what I see here was the stocks, as I mentioned earlier. The stocks in 1920s went crazy. People in the early 20s, people went nuts. People made a lot of money with the stock market. But then you can see right there, 1929, the stock market crashed, right? Fell apart. So I said, okay. And I also found some more information about collectibles. People were into collecting these penny stories. I forget what it was called, penny something. But people would collect them. It was a story that would come out every week. And I was like, okay, they're very interesting collectibles. What are they worth now? They're worth like a couple of $100 in good condition. Bad investment. You save these things like Beanie Babies back in the days. And then what? Your ROI is not where it should be. Okay, fine, you paid a nickel for it back in the days, but you held on to this thing for 100 years, and all you have is $200-$300 for each one. Yeah, you're looking at a nice return, but it's a long time. So I said, okay, so let's look at where the real money was, and it was the stock market, right? People were investing a lot in the stock market, but what happened? It crashed. So I said, all right, but yet when you look at the stock market today, it's still a thing. The stock market is still going strong. People make millions of dollars. And when I lived in New York, I knew people who made a lot of money on the stock market. They worked on the stock market, and that was what they did, and they lived well. So it was like, okay, so I know for a fact that people that still work, still make money off the stock market. So that platform was good. But what about the actual stocks? And there were people back then, they were investing in the stocks like Longboat and some other ones that I just am not familiar with. And I'm like, okay, so the key is they lost their money because of the actual individual stock that they invested in 1920. And then in 1929, those stocks were no longer valued as much. And what happened was, in those years, a lot of people took credit. Banks started to give out more credit. People started to buy cars on credit. A lot of appliances were big back in those years. And so people were upside down. So everything crashed, right? So I was like, okay, back in early 1920s, what was the move was to keep your money moving. The stock you invested in 1920 is not the same stock that you invested in 1929. If not, you lost your behind. So with that being said, how can we apply it? The platform stock market is proven, right? It's a good platform to invest your money, especially over 100 years. But in what stock? You have to keep it moving. Your money needs to be like water. It needs to be on the move. So let's apply it to collectibles. Your money needs to be on the move. You need diversification within the platform. So yeah, you invest in collectibles, but are you just investing in Topps Chrome? Are you also investing in Panini? Are you investing in hockey players, basketball, football, baseball, vintage, new school, a little bit of mix? Are you investing in digital assets, NFTs? Are you investing in comics, digital comics, the NFT comics? Are you investing also in, and again, I'm not saying that any one of these are bad or good. I'm just saying diversification, because I don't know what's going to be in 100 years, what's going to hold its value. So I think that's, if I were to go back in time, and if I had a conversation with somebody that was investing big in the stocks, which was the number one thing, and it was exploding, I would tell them, look, there's going to be a crash. You need to move your money. Yeah, right now you're going to be making money, but once you see that things start, kind of leveling off, maybe you think about that next new stock, or diversifying in some other asset or what have you. So, people invest in collectible coins, old money, weapons like firearms, or collectible guns, or maybe even they collect what is it called? Stamps. They collect collectible stamps. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many different collectible swords. That's also big. So you have all these different genres. And again, I'm not in all those genres, right? But it's all within the collectible umbrella, that, this whole vertical. So what I'm thinking is, put an ear to these other verticals that you may not be interested in, because you never know. You never know. Just because a comic book or a sport card is worth 5 million, 6 million today, in 10 years, 100 years, what is the ROI? Is it just, a little bit? Is it does it go up, 5%, 10%? But if you keep your ear to the ground, finger on the pulse, however you want to put it, but that way, oh snap, this Marvel is moving to digital assets. Top Shot, and again, I know the story. Top Shot spiked up, came down, and but the thing is, at least give it a little bit of attention. Don't be closed-minded, be open-minded, because what you care about, what you have an emotional tie, is not what the 5-year-old is going to have an emotional tie with in 20 years, 30 years when they want to go ahead and invest. When you're ready to, you know what, I'm going to sell my collection. I'm done. I don't have many years left on this earth. I'm going to sell it. But your ROI is not where you would like it to be because you slept on it. Your money was stagnant and you just sat on that collectible or that vertical within the collectible umbrella. That's what I have learned from doing this research. I am just trying to share so that way we all grow, and that way our investments in collectibles is always a smart one. Nobody knows for sure, but we can always educate ourselves. And I think this information that we can learn from 100 years ago, these are facts. I didn't make this stuff up. These are facts. Now, I don't know what's happened in 100 years, but history tends to repeat itself. So let's think about that. Diversification is not a bad thing. All right, everyone. Remember, good luck in all of your investments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Diversification, what verticals don't you know about but you're interested in? So, talk to me. Let's talk about it because look, I'm new to NFTs. It's something that I'm, dipping my finger in my toe in there. And I'm really liking it. The whole metaverse. I can see how social media is. But let's not even go down that path. That's for another video. But please let me know where your head is at because I want to know where the community's at. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.